It seems so obvious.
That's what I tell people, but
Bro, the world is running out of people. Why the fuck are you saying that shit?
running out of people, there's over 8 billion of us. That's 8,000 times a million.
Depopulating. Do some fucking reading, bro.
Some reading, I read every single day.
Korea, they're not even having one child for every 2 people.
So what?
In China, in the next 10 years, they're gonna go from 1.2 billion to 660 million.
So what? People shouldn't have kids if they don't want to have kids.
Go have some fucking kids and get a fucking life and stop standing on a fucking corner trying to tell people what the fuck to do. Dickhead.
You just told me what to do. You just told me what to do, and you're telling me to not tell.
Dickhead.
Do you hear me being rude to people? Do you hear me being rude to people? You're the one being a fucking jerk.
What is one unselfish reason to have kids? Stop having kids.
Got any answers?
See that song? You said what?
Oh, I just said, do you have any answers for the question?
What?
Oh, what is one unselfish reason to have kids?
Unselfish reason?
Yeah.
Shit. Carry on your DNA.
But how's that unselfish? You're doing that for you.
For the next generation.
No one says I want to be born so I can carry on my dad's DNA. Huh?
So does this mean you're pro-abortion or anti-abortion? What does this mean?
Pro-abortion.
Oh, no.
I mean, it says stop having kids, so why would we be
I don't
anti-abortion?
know. Why do you hate kids, man?
It has nothing to do with hating kids. Why would you assume that I hate kids?
Well, you want kids to be dead, apparently.
What are you talking about? Not
So you
is being. If I was never alive, would I be dead?
So we're talking about 2 things here.
Not bringing someone into the world isn't the same thing as, okay, kid, you should die.
So
It's-
stop having kids is not what I'm talking about. But if you are supporting abortion, just to stop having kids, then you do support killing kids. Never
As-
getting pregnant is different. I'll put that aside.
They're kids once they come into the world. Once they go from babies to kids.
It's really arbitrary.
It's really about you're sparing them a lot of harm and suffering. If you
By
care
killing them.
if you care about children, why would you want to bring them into a world where they're subjected to harm and pain and suffering and burdens?
So
And
is the issue with the world
They're-
right now, or do you think just in general we shouldn't have kids?
just in general, but the world's pretty bad right now.
But is it because the world's bad right now, or just in general you just think we
Well, when was the last time the world wasn't bad enough to?
I don't know.
Thank you.
Maybe in the 40s?
The 40s.
Yeah,
There
make
was all
America
kinds
great
of
again,
horrible
man.
shit going on in the 40s.
Well,
And you also have to think about how do we impact other life in this world, like other animals. What's our relationship to other animals? And it's pretty much just domination and displacement, displacing
so
animals,
why do you
dominating
keep
them.
living? Like, why do you?
Why what?
Why do you keep living yourself? Like, why you eat food? You're definitely adding to the detriment of animals. And,
Yeah, I know.
And plants.
Well, I am vegan, but I still
And
am.
then
I still am adding to the detriment of animals because there's no way to be a perfect vegan. I mean,
Right.
there's no way to be like
But isn't that the nature of the
not cause
universe?
any harm.
The
Sorry.
nature of the universe, things are not perfect. Things that there are.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm not planning on living till like I die of old age or disease or something. I am gonna die early. I am gonna die as like a young male. It's just because I'm alive now doesn't mean I'm never gonna take my life. I don't want to live right now. I'd like to like be spreading this message and stuff.
How is it gonna help anybody? You're saying don't have kids. So what's the end goal? The planet.
Well, if we
we'd
we'd be helping a lot of kids if we prioritize life that's already here and in need, like the almost 500,000 kids in the U.S. foster care system, for example, and we're only 4.5% of the whole world's population. We have almost 500,000 kids in the foster care system. If people would prioritize the life that we have with real interests, desires, feelings, and needs, like those kids, for example, a lot of them would be able to have like a much better life, or at least way more potential. But we're just abandoning them, we're just neglecting them, and we're just having our own kids that have like our same blood and DNA instead.
Yeah,
and
there's a value to that, man. You want to carry on your legacy, your bloodline.
you can have a legacy without having a kid.
You can have a legacy, but like
Having a
something
kid
innate-
is not a legacy. They're
there's
their own
something-
legacy.
There's something innate in me that I want to keep my genes going. I think there's something off. No offense to you, something off that you have no interest in keeping your genes going.
Why are your genes so special that you want to keep them going?
Because they're unique. No one else has my genes. My
So?
parents, my dad,
What's unique about them?
dad's dad all worked. They all succeeded in reproducing. Some men can never reproduce because they just can't get pussy.
But why
That's
are your genes so great that you actually have to force someone else to live just so they can have
Well, 'cause-
genes that are linked to you? Why is it that
Because they're
special?
unique. And you say force.
Everyone's genes are unique though.
Right.
So should everyone just have kids then?
If they're able to find a woman that wants them, sure.
So just because of genes, that's a good reason to force someone into existence because
Because
of
I
your
think
genes.
human life is inherently special.
So why don't you help the humans who are already here
We can do
who
both.
need help? So are you going to do both?
Hold on a second. So you can argue both simultaneously. You can argue that the kids in foster care have an issue right now, which is true. It's a bad system. Simultaneously, you can also argue that we shouldn't be killing babies that are in their mother's womb. To support abortion.
I'm not gonna. I've never killed a baby. I've never caused a pregnancy, and I've never performed an
you
abortion.
Are saying you're pro-abortion.
Yeah, but that's just my opinion. My opinion is not changing anything in the world
Are these
when it comes to
free?
abortion. Yeah. So yeah, if you were aborted, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know either way. You wouldn't be missing out.
I wouldn't be missing out, but I still think like. First off, I don't think it's
And they're gonna die. Every baby who doesn't get aborted and comes into existence, they still die. You're still giving someone a death sentence. It's just a matter of when are they gonna die and how are they gonna
Maybe
die.
they're gonna cure cancer, man.
No. That's what everyone says.
So,
That's just ridiculous.
All the vaccines,
Why don't
all the medications, somebody invented, right?
Yeah.
So there's somebody.
And a lot of those things cause harm too. There's a lot of deaths and disabilities and injuries
From the COVID-19 vaccine, right?
Well,
Right.
yeah, and tied to just medical care in general. But we've had Vioxx, Oxycontins.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably accumulate a list of 1,000 things if you did the research.
Sir, are you a utilitarian? Do you believe in like doing the greatest good? No. So to me, it just seems like completely.
It's just about sparing like unnecessary
It's so arbitrary,
suffering and
yeah, but
harm.
then you're sparing some theoretically according to your logic, but then you're saying we should kill all the babies possible. So
But
that's not
I didn't
actually
say. I
changing
never.
anybody.
When did I ever say we should kill all the
You
babies?
support if someone wants an abortion, you think they should be able to get one, right?
Yeah, their body, their choice.
But it's not their body; it's a
It
baby,
is.
man. And I'm not even
The
religious.
baby's
I'm
in
not
their
even
body.
religious.
It's a fetus, embryo, then a fetus, and then
Yeah.
a baby
It's a human
developing
being.
in their body.
It's a human
But
being
did
that's
that
gonna
did that potential life? Did they ask to come into existence?
They don't have to ask, man. Did you didn't ask for
Yeah.
yours.
So it's force. So you can spare them. You're not harming them by aborting them. You're
Yes,
not,
you are.
How?
You're tearing them apart. You know, fucking like, what's the word? Like, it's just super gory. The abortions, they go and they chop the baby up and they pull it out.
Yeah, when abortion's like at that stage, and it's a very quick process. Now think about someone who's living for decades and decades. Think about all the harm they're going to go through: diseases, accidents, injuries, emotional distress, heartbreak. You're subjecting
I'm so happy
someone.
to be alive.
Well, that's you. That's you. You're gambling with someone else's life if they bring them into existence. A lot of people are not happy to be alive. A lot of people are traumatized. We all have some amount of trauma at
But is that
least.
part of being human?
Yeah,
Why
but
do-
why?
you're treating
But why
all
do you
people-
have to? But why do you have to continue that? Why can't you just? If you really do want to have kids, then why can't you just try to make someone's life better who's already here right now?
I want my kids, my DNA, my grandparents.
That's just
and their
so
grandparents.
egotistical.
No, it's not.
It's not egotistical. Then what is it?
I'll tell you why not.
Is it
My entire
selfless?
family fought for their lineage to carry on. And for me to be the one to just like, fuck it, I think that's giving me a huge fuck you to everyone before me. And
It's not. First of all, those people don't exist anymore, so it's not a fuck you to them. Maybe not all of them would want you to have a kid. Maybe some of them would be like me and they would want you to
So because
adopt or
someone doesn't exist
foster.
anymore, we should just say screw them?
Sorry?
Because someone doesn't exist anymore, what they did doesn't matter?
No, I'm not saying
You
that.
said that, they don't exist anymore, so
I'm
it's
saying
irrelevant.
because you said it would be a huge fuck you. You have to be
Yeah, well-
alive to experience like a fuck you. Like I'm sure someone have done things where you were like, damn, that was like a fuck you to me.
Yeah, everyone's had that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they would have to be alive to experience that fuck you, and they should care more about your individuality, like what you want to do with your life. They shouldn't. Your existence isn't here to please other
But
people.
what I want to do as a person is control by the frame of society. So if the frame of society is having kids are good, I'm more likely to want to have kids. If the frame of society is having kids are bad, you know, humans are very influenced by the frame of the time. So framing this as a good idea is just degenerate, man. It's gross.
How's it gross?
You're telling people like basically humans should just die off.
I'm saying we should be prioritizing already existing life that's in need. How is that
so
gross?
let's say we did that. We accomplished that. We have a
But
system now
we're
where kids in the
not.
foster-
But you're
Yes, we
talking
did.
hypotheticals that are not going to happen.
What do you change the
Because humans
position?
are inherently egotistical and selfish.
Yeah,
so
I
that.
agree.
So let's talk about realistic stuff. Let's not talk about hypotheticals that are not going to
It's
happen.
important to this conversation to just be like, oh.
I'm not saying the conversation's not important. I'm just saying why don't we talk about things that are realistic instead of hypothetical things that are never going to
It's
happen.
a serious question. Why can't you answer it?
What's the question?
If we could have a way that the kids in the foster care system were in homes, would that change your stance? There was no longer that issue was addressed.
No, but like I said, there's always going to be life in need, and it goes way beyond foster care. It's humans and other animals, and
Some people are gonna be cared for
humans are homeless. There's seniors that need help.
Yeah, people make bad choices,
There's
man. Yeah.
people with disabilities. Some of it's choices, and some of it's out of our control, accidents and stuff. Either way, like, none of us asked to come to this existence where we were subjected to all these circumstances that, you know, could land us in devastating scenarios.
I just don't know why you're attributing it all to be a bad thing. Like, we are subjected to. I'm subjected to. I was born in Philly. I'm here, but it's not.
Oh, go ahead.
It's just not a bad thing. I don't know why you're like your takeaway is always negative. It just shouldn't be negative, dude.
It's not. It's actually a positive to talk about prioritizing already existing life is not a negative concept, and you probably have lived at least a somewhat privileged life. Like, you weren't in the foster care system and stuff. If you had experienced those circumstances, I think you would feel a lot differently. Or if you were just more
I know people
empathetic.
have tough lives, man. They don't want to die. They don't want to.
Do you hold an antinatalist position?
Yeah.
Because don't you think?
Well, we're having a conversation right now. You can wait, but
Sure,
like,
go
No, I want to hear more takes here.
I want to hear your perspective.
what?
Just generally, what's going on here?
Well, I was explaining to him that I think we should be prioritizing real life that's here right now with real interests, desires, and needs and feelings. There's a lot of life that could be vastly improved. So I believe in people who want to care for others besides just themselves, that we should put that towards already existing life instead of bringing the unborn into existence.
Okay, so you're coming from a place of compassion.
Yeah.
Do you see any systematic issues with not like reproducing and like you know, because labor is required?
I agree with this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
we
like,
have stickers too. If you want
ultimately,
some.
like, people have to work, and like, if we shut down reproduction now, then what's going to happen? Like,
There's gonna be consequences. I don't
Yeah.
think he cares. His point is, we're
your
fucking
arms
your
tired?
animals. We should just like
Do you ever
all
stop
die.
having
I
kids,
don't know, man.
Slim?
so this is more.
Just stop having kids.
This is more like a.
You guys should give up.
It's more like a democratic.
We used to, but then everyone says they're a large.
Trying to do like a,
So that's gonna slip off of some dicks, you know.
Message to get your
So
attention.
that's why I stopped doing
I don't
it.
think there's much there.
As someone that is
Unfortunately.
adopted, I support your message.
Thank you very much, and that's what I've been explaining to them. Thank you.
Man,
I've been
I think
explaining.
you're very-
I've been explaining to people like him. He cares more about his genetics and helping kids who need
There are so
adopted.
many kids that need love.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
Raised to be 27 years old.
We have almost 500,000 kids in the U.S. foster care system alone.
But that's a separate issue. You're talking about
It's
two
not a
separate
separate
things.
issue.
It's an issue that needs to be addressed.
Thank you.
Right?
The procreation gets to the bottom of all issues because no one can experience any kind of injustice or evil if they're not born in the first place, and no one can
But what about
perpetuate
all
any
people
of
like
that.
me who are happy to be here? Maybe you're not happy to be here. So what about, you're just saying screw you to everybody.
Yeah, but if you weren't born, I'm not saying there's nothing about screwing people over. Like, you keep attaching all these negative words that are not part of this message. But if you hadn't been born, so if you didn't get to experience this said happiness, which, you know, you're not in a constant state of happiness. You're happy from time to time.
Highs and lows.
But you wouldn't be missing out because you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know otherwise. Just like when you go to sleep, you know, you're not conscious. Besides the dreams that you have.
Man, I think it's a very negative take coming from a negative place. I think you need
Well,
to
it's
get
not.
you need to get laid, and you'll be a lot happier.
I get laid a lot.
Well, get laid more.
So you're
I
trying to
think that-
psychologize
No,
me
I'm
and
serious.
figure
I
out
think
like
that's where it's coming from. It's like a Freudian thing.
it has nothing to do with that. I've actually felt like this since I was a child.
Very negative outlook, man. I think people.
It's
should
not a negative.
Stop existing.
Prioritizing. What is a negative outlook? Is saying my genes are
but-
more important than
but-
taking
but
care
you're
of life
saying
that's here right now. That's a negative
You're saying
outlook.
it's more than just the foster. First, you use that as an example.
Yeah,
and
it's
you
way
said
more than
even
that.
if we address that, there's still a bigger like
There is.
existential thing going on. People shouldn't exist essentially.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's
So,
all, like I said,
not really just
prioritizing.
that.
No, it is, because there's far more life that's in need right now than even if all humans wanted to care for, like, have a family, we still wouldn't be able to help out everyone who even needs to be helped out. That's how much there is.
But how's this a better alternative to just not have kids? That's not a better alternative.
It is a better alternative because you're helping someone who already exists, who's being they're in a state of deprivation.
But then you're
People who
screwing over the
don't
people who wanna have
don't exist, they're not people, so they're not being deprived. But there's so much existing life right here that is deprived, so we can help appease that deprivation by caring for them. It's a positive message. So I don't know how you can
It's
say
not
that's not.
positive at all. Listen, man.
If you were experiencing deprivation, then maybe you would
I have
understand.
friends who have been through tough times. Some people are happy, some people are not. But the answer is to stop having kids as a society. We need to carry on our lineage.
We
Our grandfathers
don't.
before
We
us.
don't.
We do.
There's no good reason why you need to procreate. You're just saying you want to continue your genetics. That's
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
that's a
arbitrary. Like,
horrible
you
reason
could-
to force someone into the
The
world.
best argument for you, I think, would be eventually the world's gonna like burn up. So like, it's an all-in anyway. So like, it's kind of arbitrary. But like, while we're on this planet, while it's alive, why not let people enjoy their lineage and their self and have kids. I can't believe they
If your whole thing is about spreading like happiness and enjoyment, why don't you push that towards life that's here right now? That is deprived.
Their parents are responsible.
Huh?
It's not my fault that those kids' parents are irresponsible. And for the record, the system's super bad.
Well, you're irresponsible if you bring someone into the world. That's irresponsible itself.
Irresponsible. You're responsible if you get an abortion, man.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're sparing a lot for that person and the world potentially. Yeah, think about all the people who would have been. Think about all the people who would have been rapists had they not been aborted. You know, pedophilia. Like more than probably 1 in every 10 guys is a pedophile.
What's wrong with society?
Are you one of the 10?
I have nothing. I didn't say anything about overpopulation.
Are you one of the 10?
No.
Well,
Every kind of sex I've had has been consensual.
I think you need to get laid more if you lot less negative.